Submitted URL has crawl issue in Google Search Console index coverage report. What does this mean and how to go about identifying and also hopefully remedying submitted URL has crawl issue errors. Let's first understand exactly what this issue is all about. You have submitted a sitemap to Google. Let's press on See Index Coverage. For this sitemap, you have, well, in this example it's valid, but if you're seeing errors, valid with warnings, all this stuff, you can always analyze the URL in question by pressing on the link, as in the tab, and you have some options which actually will be touched base in a second. But when we see submitted URL has crawl issue, basically means you've told Google about a sitemap, any type of sitemap, is an XML sitemap, it doesn't matter how many. Google tries to request these URLs because sitemaps are a very important part of website maintenance, because using this particular file and its format, Google can see the structure of your website and when it was last modified, so it can access it better, as in it can crawl it better. This is true for e-commerce sites especially, and for large websites as well, as in websites with thousands upon thousands of pages, which then are crawled very quickly and often. So what Search Console is saying, you know what, you told us about a URL on your website by using sitemaps that you have submitted to us, but when we tried to access it, we encountered a crawl issue. Now that crawl issue can be many different things. Let's imagine this particular URL, and I'll actually give you some actionable insights. You can go to proxysite.com, paste the URL in question and press on Go. By using tools like this, you can quickly and easily see if someone located in a different part of the world, can they visit this URL? And if all is good here, then you know that they can. So then the question arises as to, okay, you know what, if they can, why couldn't Google? Then what you need to do is, when it was crawled, you can always download the report and analyze them accordingly. Looking at that date and information there, you may say, okay, you know what, that error was encountered perhaps, let's say, last week. Well, if that's the case, it could be something to do with your website being updated, something to do with your web server being rebooted in that moment in time that Google tried to access that URL. So that means you can actually press on validate fix for whatever, as in submitted URL, crawl errors. So you can press on validate fix because you have tested the URL using a proxy site and you can access it from the front end. You can, if you want, use a different browser to request the page because your current browser may be showing you the cached version, which is not the live version. But once again, do not make an honest mistake thinking, oh, Google couldn't access a URL, and then you end up checking crawl errors and you end up seeing 404 page not found, and then doing 301 redirection. Don't do that. If you're seeing submitted URL has crawl issue, first thing to do is identify which URL. Search Console will show you that. Actually, while here, let's do this. As I've said, whether it's error, warning, valid, excluded, you can always further analyze the URL in question. You can test your Robots.txt file. Okay, let's press this all known pages. Let's go back to index coverage because I actually have a warning here so I can show you. When the URL is blocked by robots, you can test it and see, okay, which line in your robots.txt is blocking Google to see a page. You can tweak the settings here. Yeah, Google is allowed. You can copy all. So copy everything, Control A, Control C. Log into your web hosting file, find robots.txt file and update that if the crawl error is to do with robots.txt. You can always fetch as Google to see, okay, can Google see it? Let's go fetch and render for this particular page that Google was giving me a warning for, and you should not be able to access this URL now. As you can see, it's blocked. It's blocked by robots directives. And sometimes if the page is not found, by using the fetch as Google tool, you can see, okay, it's not found. Then the question arises to, okay, if it's not found, why is that URL is in the sitemap? Make sense? Because fetch as Google tool basically will request the URL just like Googlebot will. Make sense? And if it can access it and it can find it, then you can basically validate fix and let this new search console validate the fix for crawl errors. But remember, most often times those crawl errors will be actually natural part of your website. Let's imagine this scenario. Let's press this. Let's see where it's linked from. It's linked from some external site. Let's go and visit that particular site. And as you can see, let's delete that and let's go to the URL itself. Somehow within this website, it could actually be hacked, that external site. Somehow there is a link pointing to this particular landing page which is part of my website. Let me give you another example so that we understand. Here it's linked from these pages, but I know this URL doesn't exist on my site. It's linked from, let's go take a look at this because that looks like an external site. Most scrapers will grab your content automatically and then place link details. Now remember, with Googlebot, links doesn't have to be clickable. It will still grab this URL pattern, place it in its next to be fetched URL indexer document, and then next time it's going to try and request this URL that is found on an external site, but it's pointing back to my website. And if it tries to request this old URL that is no longer available on my website, then it's gonna throw page not found error, 404 crawl error. As long as your sitemap has the URLs that you want Google to index, and after checking the report in Search Console, and after fetching as Google, if all is okay, you can then mark as in validate fix, and then let the tool do its job. And then perhaps a week later, if things are still not working, then new Search Console sends another email saying we couldn't validate your fix. So then you can double check everything. Once again, crawl errors are actually a natural part of running a website. For more Search Console related videos, simply check RankYa YouTube channel or visit my blog, because I actually do have some different content published here. I thank you very much for learning with me, and I'll talk with you in the next video session.